As a sophomore in high school, I sat somewhere in this chapel looking at some senior from that time giving his priestero talk, and ever since then, 6 years, I've been thinking, who am I going to give for my priestero? And I finally decided on Tuesday. So it's part of the difficulty there that I want to mention two other priests before I get to my priestero. Father Nick Vanderburkey from my hometown, an SGB graduate and young priest, has been a role model for me, full of zeal, fire, and he founded the basketball game against SBS. The other priest is Father Mark Dosh. He's my pastor for 6 years. He was a real inspiration to me, the first priest I really got to know and look up to, and I learned to altar serve unto him, and to witness his holiness was a great call to myself to be holy and to possibly be a priest. But my actual priestero, the one I'll be speaking about tonight, is a rather ordinary choice, Bishop Andrew Cousins. That should be it for puns tonight. I don't really have any more prepared. We'll see if any more slip out. The first time I saw Father Andrew Cousins was when I was a sophomore in high school that same year. Seems to be an influential year for priestero talks. He was giving a lifeline at the Net Center, and so usually we have Mass and then a talk and then adoration. At his, he scrapped the talk, kind of. He did a short one, and then had an extended adoration where he would read passages from Scripture, give meditations on them, and we'd have larger periods of silence. This is something that I had not yet had in my 4 years of Lifeline, and it struck me deeply. It was adoration that was very personal with Jesus Christ, first because we had that longer time with him in that silence, but also Bishop Cousins himself facilitated that by speaking about Jesus in such a way that he was a real person, and his effect on me would not just affect what I did at Mass or in adoration or when I prayed, but the way I lived my life. And I can't explain that well enough. If you've listened to his homilies, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. He continued to give those lifelines throughout high school, and to this date, those are my favorite lifelines to go to. But the first time I really met him was the summer after my junior year of high school. I was at Broomtree in South Dakota, of all places, in a high school retreat, a summer camp, and the Companions of Christ, among them Father Peter Williams, were having their own retreat this summer at the same time. They were coming out of the chapel once, and we were going in. This is the chapel on the hill, for those of you who have been there. They were coming out, and I thought, this is my chance to meet Father Andrew Cousins, my favorite Lifeline priest. And so I went up to him and introduced myself, and he says, "Have we met before?" And I thought, well, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. And to this day, I still am convinced that was the first time I met him. But it had a profound impact on me in that it seemed like he was a priest who saw more in me than I saw in myself. And there's no real reason for me to think that, other than this inspiration to be holy every time I see Bishop Cousins, and every time I spend time with him. Later that fall, he was named an auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis. And 2 days after his consecration, which I got to go to, got to skip school for, I got to serve Mass for him at the parish that my high school went to daily Mass at. I had to get permission to skip being in choir to go serve, but 2 days after he was consecrated bishop, I got to altar serve for him. And I love altar serving, and so that was fantastic. It was such a great gift. Later that month, this is December of 2013, Archbishop Nienstedt was not around, and so Bishop Cousins headed up the winter retreat for those high school seniors and any men older who were discerning priesthood. And so we got to spend a whole weekend at the King's House Retreat Center, Buffalo, for those third and fourth years who have been there, with Bishop Cousins. I got to have a conversation with him for about half an hour, running through various scenarios. I've had this thought about being a priest, and this thought I really don't want to right now, and there was this sign, but there's this girl, and he just said, you know what? God is clearly calling you to seminary. And at this point, I already had the application, so that wasn't too hard to take. But he said one thing: give seminary 2 years before you even think about leaving. Give him 2 years. Now, most of the time, Father Becker will say, give us one. Father Bishop Cousins told me to put 2 years in. And that ended up being huge, because freshman year, I had knee surgery, just like our dear friend James Carroll, and right before freshman year, and that ended up making freshman year really hard. And there were times I did not want to be there because it was so tough. But Bishop Cousins said, give him 2 years, just give him 2 years. So I stuck around. And then sophomore year, I overdid my schedule. And I thought, I don't really want to do this again. But Bishop Cousins said, give us 2 years before you think about discerning. Not, you can discern, so I finished the 2 years. Come back third year, and at this point, I'd seen Bishop Cousins a few more things. Now he was saying, persevere. He didn't say anything more specific, he just said, persevere. And then it ended up being really good because fall semester of junior year was really tough. But then I went to Rome, and things started to turn around. I started to get more excited about the priesthood, and seeing Bishop Cousins started to fill me with more joy. The first few years of seminary were really hard, but that encouragement to persevere was really powerful for me. And then it started bearing fruit. And I'm now filled with great joy at the thought of being a priest, great joy at the thought of being a priest in the same diocese as, at least for now, as Bishop Andrew Cousins. I know there's a number of you who would love to have him as your own ordinary. But for the time being, I'm very thankful for the time I got to spend with him this summer. I got to MC for him and flip pages at SPS, and that was a very satisfying moment. There's been a few other interesting times where I spilled wax in my face while serving or got something in my eye, and his only comment was, don't poke your eye out. But despite all these really odd and really unexplainable circumstances, he's constantly been there as an inspiration of a priest who first and foremost makes Jesus Christ real to me, makes him a person that I can come to know and that affects every aspect of my life. Praise be Jesus Christ. Now and forever.